Okay, so for most of this race, I didn't think I would be able to come up with a good topic to talk about because, well, this just felt like a race to me. Sure, it wasn't bad. It was pretty above average for what we expect out of Phoenix, actually. But nothing out of the ordinary jumped out to me. No main headlines or story to follow throughout the race. I mean, the only other notable thing to happen was Austin Hill having one of the more bizarre wrecks I have ever seen. I'm talking about stuff you only see on iRacing with net coding shenanigans where he hit the inside wall, not the outside, but the inside wall, entering turn 3. His car shot off the track, collected his good buddy Sheldon Creed, and Dean Thompson also got a piece of it courtesy of Connor Silich rear-ending him. But I really didn't think that was video-worthy, talking about just one incident that happened, because it wouldn't have made for a watchable video in my eyes. So as the laps wound down, I was left brainstorming what ideas or topics I could talk about that I could maybe tie into this race in some way, shape, or form. Maybe talking about Justin Allgaier and how he finally got the Phoenix win that was robbed from him last year due to a blown tire. And despite the success that Allgaier has at this track, it's a big shocker that he only has 2 wins. The last one coming in the fall race of 2019. And if you look back and rewatch some of those races, yeah, you can say he's had some terrible luck. And also some moments of poor execution, especially on late race situations. And this race was no exception. From the moment Allgaier took the lead in Stage 2 from the pole sitter and also the guy who won Stage 1 in Alex Bowman, it felt like no one was beating the 7. Not Bowman, not Aric Almirola. Brandon Jones was there, good top 5 car and was able to hang with the leaders at times, but he didn't have the race winning speed to contend with the top 3. So Allgaier won Stage 2 after a brief challenge from Almirola, and he was well on his way to winning the race as Bowman had fallen off. Almirola was making a late race charge, but realistically he wasn't getting there. And then, with less than 10 to go, a flat tire. Not for Allgaier, but from his teammate Carson Kvapil. Fortunately though, no caution, so after that brief scare, I thought, okay, wrong JRM car, because I was fully expecting this to happen to the 7 car. But anyways, after letting my guard down and thinking that was the late race incident that could have brought the caution, but ultimately didn't, bam! Yellow comes out just a few laps later, spin from the 07 car, which could have been another flat tire, by the way, if I remember correctly. And I just could not believe it. There's just something about Phoenix. This is realistically one of, if not, Justin Allgaier's best track. Yet for some reason, he always has to fight tooth and nail just to even get a chance at a race win, or in the case of the fall race last year, win a championship. And of course, we already know how this goes. Overtime restart happens, Allgaier blows turn 1 and throws away any chance he had at a win. Bowman threads the needle and makes an amazing 4-wide pass on Allgaier while all this is happening, as well as Almirola and Brandon Jones, grabbing the lead and being on his way to stealing yet another win in classic Bowman fashion. But this is where we get into the moment of this race and the main topic of this video, because Almirola came back on the last lap, and on the last set of corners, like 3 and 4, right before the finish line, Bowman takes the corner wide, which allows Almirola to get to his inside. However, he gets loose, drifts up into the 17, and puts him in the wall, which ultimately gives Almirola the win. So NASCAR Twitter goes crazy again. Some people saying that it was fair game because it's the last lap. Other people saying that it was dirty and that Almirola is a hypocrite for preaching clean racing and then going out and doing this. Also pointing to his interview after the race where Almirola said he was planning on using Bowman up all along. And to some extent I get it, because if you look at it from Bowman's point of view, yeah, you're a bit disappointed to find out that Almirola was going to race you like that anyways. Especially with the way the ARCA race the day before ended, with a JGR car doing a similar move to win the race on the last lap. But when you compare those moves side by side, again, what Almirola did is less egregious in my opinion, and that's mainly because he got loose. Again, personally, I had no issue with the move itself. Yeah, it wasn't clean, but it was not dirty either. It was just a racing move. Mainly because, again, Almirola got loose in 3 and 4, and this came after he had already beat Bowman on corner exit, so they were coming off the corner side by side. So I really doubt his intention was to put Bowman in the wall the way he did. He was going to use him up, don't get me wrong. He even said it in his interview that I'm not going to dispute that. he already said it in his interview. It's set in stone that Almirola was going to race Bowman that some type of way. That being said, if he doesn't get loose, I don't think Bowman ends up in the wall that hard with a tire rub, like with smoke coming out of his car. I think if Almirola kept it straight, he would have stuck to his original intentions of using him up like he said he would. You know, dooring him, fencing him, crowding him up the track. You know, a similar move to what Daniel Hemrick did in 2021 to win the title and the race from Austin Cindric. Think something like that. But he wouldn't blatantly put him in the wall like that. So again, if the 19 didn't get loose, because this has been my main point of contention all along, if Almirola doesn't get loose and he still puts Alex Bowman in the wall like that, I would have 100% stood on the side of, yeah, it was a dirty move. And it would have been arguably worse than what Brent Cruz did in the ARCA race the day prior. However, given that he did, I'm not going to consider it a dirty move. It wasn't clean, I never said it was, but it was not dirty. It was just a racing move. So those are my thoughts on this whole thing. But man, can we just talk about how this race went from 0 to 100 just like that? Because it was a relatively clean and mundane race up until that late spin which set up overtime. And then in overtime, we saw Allgaier blowing the corner, Bowman threading the needle 4 wide to take the lead, then Almirola coming back in 3 and 4 on the last lap, getting loose underneath the 17 and putting him in the wall to win the race himself. Only at Phoenix crazy stuff like this happens, at least as far as the Xfinity and Truck Series is concerned. The Cup Series is a different story because you very rarely see races end in overtime in Cup. But shout out to Nick Lights for that late spin. I didn't know what to talk about for this video until you sent the race into overtime, so much appreciated, man.